Holly Willoughby recently accused Phillip Schofield of throwing shade at her in a snide way on his comeback show Cast Away. The former This Morning presenter didn't even mention his ex-bestie Holly by name on the show, but his clever 3 S's of showbiz digs meant that he didn't have to drop himself in it. Merely inserting cryptic clues here and there throughout the program was enough to let people know exactly what he thought of Holly and his former ITV bosses. We have long suspected that Phillip Schofield is a cryptic clue dropper, and we almost feel as if he's been trying to tell us a dark truth since the scandal first broke in May 2023 and even long before that. On Cast Away, Phillip's daughter Molly Schofield, through teary eyes, implied that she wished people would understand what really happened to her beloved father, and several celebrity friends of Schofield seem to have jumped on the bandwagon as if to suggest there's something they know that we don't. What is it? What is Phillip Schofield trying to tell us about the truth behind his unceremonious fall from grace? In latest revelations, Holly Willoughby was apparently incandescent with rage after a clash on one particular episode of This Morning, which supposedly started Holly and Phil's fallout, which was when Phillip Schofield refused to let her present This Morning alone on International Women's Day. This is a story that's been mentioned many times during the scandal as a whole, and it's being dredged up again by media, almost as if they are trying to draw our attention to it. Why? We've already been told several versions of why Phillip and Holly fell out. His affair with a young runner has been blamed. Phillip's brother's crimes have been blamed. So why now are media suggesting it was International Women's Day that kicked it all off? Odd, wouldn't you say? At the time, Holly Willoughby and the show's editor, Martin Frizzell, allegedly thought it would be a great idea to have an all-female presenting team for International Women's Day in March 2023. But Phillip reportedly wasn't pleased with this idea and decided to take matters into his own hands. He allegedly went straight to ITV's big boss, Emma Gormley, to stop the plan, but in the end, Phillip reportedly got his way. Holly was apparently only allowed to host the first part of the show with the female production staff, while Phillip took a break for a coffee down the road. After the first half, Phillip came back to join Holly on the famous sofa as if nothing had happened. That's what has been reported anyway. An insider told the publication Holly was livid about Gormley's decision and the fact Phillip had undermined her, and made that very clear to numerous people at ITV. It was the first real sign to This Morning staff that their relationship had fractured, and Holly wanted to step out of Phillip's shadow. A friend said, "Phil said Holly was incandescent about the whole thing." The next thing, the ITV press team had a call from the press suggesting that Phil had been difficult. It felt like an orchestrated coup, that perhaps Holly wanted to present the show on her own and didn't need Phil anymore. Let's dig deeper. The fallout allegedly began with a terse exchange with the ITV flagship program's chief Martin Frizzell. A pal said, Phil got a text from Martin asking him to take the day off because Holly wanted to do the show herself. Martin told Phil something along the lines of the show wanting to give women in the UK a day off from everything. No washing, no chores. He wanted them to celebrate being women. Phil said what Martin was suggesting wasn't what the day was about. For Phillip, who has 2 beloved daughters, it felt patronizing and hugely demeaning. He told Martin it felt like 1950s misogyny and was demeaning to women, and urged him to do something better. Martin then suggested he present a wine item, which left Phil going above his head and complaining to Emma Gormley, managing director of Daytime. In the end, Holly presented the start of the show in March last year alone with female production staff, and Phillip joined her later. So, what's really going on, and why exactly are we being reminded of this tangled story? With all the hoo-ha regarding the supposed real moment Phil and Holly fell out, we decided to take a closer look at the This Morning episode in question. As the show kicked off on the 8th of March 2023, just 2 short months before Phillip Schofield admitted to lying about an affair with a young runner, Holly Willoughby was seen opening the daytime show surrounded by dozens of female production staff, with the This Morning familiar theme tune swapped out for pop star Lizzo's hit Good as Hell, which funnily enough contains the line, "Just walk your fine A out the door." We digress. The group, which notably included Phillip Schofield's good friend Vanessa Feltz, then broke out into a huge cheer, and Holly said, "Well, look at this. This is a lovely way to start the show." To celebrate International Women's Day, we wanted to start with the incredible ladies who helped put this show together. Interestingly, Holly then goes on to mention runners, saying, "From our hard-working runners and producers to our wonderful crew and incredible lineup of this morning experts. We are very proud to work with you amazing women. Give yourself a huge round of applause." Phil wasn't present for the opening segment, but wasn't actually missing. He was across the road getting ready to surprise one inspiring woman, who said she thought she was on a day trip to London to meet her brother, as he was getting married. During a live link, Holly reminded viewers that International Women's Day started in 1977. The show then promptly cut to Phil, who was seen walking into a place called the Bluebird Cafe in White City, the name of which was emblazoned on the screen. Phil went inside and approached Chloe Hammond, one of the few disabled nurses in the UK. Phillip Schofield then invited Chloe, her mum Jackie and her very special assistant's dog called Ocho into the studio to share her incredible story and show everyone how amazing she is. For what we thought was a rather unusually lengthy chat for the program, we heard how Chloe was diagnosed with a rare disease at the age of 15 and beat all the odds by becoming one of the UK's only disabled nurses. At one point, a colleague of Chloe's popped up on the screen in support of her, which reduced the nurse to tears. Later on in the program, Philip told Chloe that this morning would pay her bills for her assistant's dog, Ocho, for a year which cost £5,000, and said they would be sending Chloe for a spa day. Earlier, Chloe was surprised that Phil knew the name of her dog, and a huge fuss was made of him later in the studio, where he happily chewed away loudly on a bone. International Women's Day is a time to celebrate women from all around the world and all walks of life. Every year on March 8th, females come together to unite against prejudice, inequality, and to raise awareness about discrimination. Far from looking like they had fallen out over the segment, we thought that Holly Willoughby's beaming grin at Phillip Schofield, as he walked into the Bluebird Cafe to meet Chloe, was rather telling. Almost as if they were in it together, like a couple of giggling teenagers with a big secret, in our opinion anyway. We just can't imagine that Phillip Schofield woke up that morning and decided to scupper International Women's Day over his bowl of Cheerios. So what does it all mean? Why are the media focusing on that particular episode of This Morning, when it's common knowledge there's so many more controversial reasons for the once much loved presenting duo to have fallen out over? Unfortunately, the general public may never be told the truth, and may have to resort to working it all out for themselves. As they say, there's a wealth of clues out there, if only you can peer beyond the smoke and mirrors and look at the bigger picture. Like and subscribe for more journeys through the Blinkerhole. For entertainment purposes only.